Yeah. So you did refer to extreme weather event every day. So I want to focus on the current brutal heat wave
Yes.
across the southern and the eastern and the northern parts of the country. Temperatures past 50, touching 50. Do you think the country is really prepared for this level of warming? And daily you see pictures of water crisis, people scrambling for water, power outages. What kind of measures do you think should be taken to protect the vulnerable sections, given the kind of impact it has on the infrastructure, on the daily lives?
Very good question. I mean, frankly, nobody is prepared for it. Be very clear, okay? All over the world now, last year, 2023, was the hottest year on record, okay, globally. 2023 was the hottest year on record in India. We have broken every record in the last 45 days where we've had an unbroken 40 degrees and above temperature. So there is no question about it. This is climate change. It's getting added this year with the waning of the El Nino as well, but it is climate change. Now, this means we really need to get our act together. There are two levels. One is, of course, the fact that, as you very rightly said, the more vulnerable communities. I mean, you and I are still sitting in relative comfort. We are still comforted by all the appliances that we can have. And we should remember that every appliance we use and every air conditioning device, and I keep saying this, will add to the crisis because it is going to use energy also, which is coal-based energy, which then adds to more pollution, more greenhouse gases. So we are in a vicious circle. But clearly, we need to make sure that the more vulnerable communities are less affected. Now, for that, we need two levels of action plan. One, we need a disaster management plan, which means as soon as we need a health index. We don't have a heat index right now. We have an air pollution index, which is something I worked on and we got instituted. That air pollution index tells you on the phone what is the level of air pollution and what does it do to your health. Okay? Now that linkage is very important for you as a person also to know what are the actions I can do. We need a similar heat index. Because remember, heat is not about temperature. Heat is about humidity. Heat is about ventilation. Okay? In this room with air conditioner, without a fan, you are going to be distinctly more uncomfortable than a room which had an air conditioner with a fan. Because at the end of the day, your skin needs to breathe. And that's the science of the heat that we all need to bring in. So we need a heat index. We need to institute it so that the government actually, IMD puts out, today's heat index is this. And it has a bar which says, okay, if you're above 35 degrees, because 35 degrees with wet bulb is seen to be really dangerous, leads to death. We need to know that that's where the index is. Secondly, we need programs to come in, like you do for air pollution, the GRAP measures, as an emergency measure, that if the heat index goes beyond a certain point, you change the schooling time, you change when people are advised to go out. You also provide for workers. The worst is workers, construction workers, all the rest of it. You have to do much more to give them the access to cooling as much as possible. The other thing that our data is showing, which is scary now, is we've just done a new report on city profiling on heat. And what scared me, I'm using the word scare, I very rarely get scared, and this is scaring me, is that the minimum temperature in cities is not going down. And what we are now pointing to is that this heat island effect of cities means that your bodies are not getting a chance to recover. So which means that you're getting more deaths at night than you're getting during the daytime. Because normally minimum temperature would fall and you would be able to recover to go back to work the next day. Just not getting that. So you need an emergency, but along with that, you need a much better plan to deal with heat in our cities. Now that means, one, how much green area do you have? How much open area do you have? How many lakes, ponds do you have? Water bodies do you have? Then when you're making your construction sites, very simple thing. When you're making your high-rise construction sites, we need a law to say what will be the wind direction of the construction sites. Okay? We don't have any concept of management of wind in our construction site. Okay, then the whole principles of passive architecture. Traditional Indian buildings look different in Kerala to Haryana. And the reason was that people learned to live with the local environment. Okay? In Rajasthan, they had a courtyard. Why? Because it was the movement of wind. They had chhajjas, okay, to make sure that the wind, that the sun would never hit you directly, that there would just be a shade device. There was a whole lot of effort to make sure that your building material was insulated. Okay? All that will have to come in, and at affordable rates. So you will need to change modern architecture to learn from traditional architecture and even get better at it. You cannot allow Gurgaon type furnaces to come up.